thank you. Press, thank you very much. Thank you, press. Thank you very much, press. Please be moving.
Very honorably, I don't even know if you know this, but when they did the impeachment hoax, it was a hoax, just a Democrat hoax, which we won. But one of the reasons we won it so easily is that when the president was asked, it was over a phone call with the president, and he said he could have grandstanded and played cute, but he didn't do that. He said, President Trump did absolutely nothing wrong. He said it loud and clear, and the impeachment hoax died right there. He could have said, well, I don't know, I don't know. And I never even told you this, to be honest, but he was like a piece of steel. He said President Trump did nothing wrong. We had a very nice call. He congratulated me on his victory. You just won. I remember that. He could have played cute, and he didn't play cute. And so I appreciated that. So we have a very good relationship. And I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin. And
boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about President Donald Trump. Statesman Donald Trump. Diplomat Donald Trump. Because this man is an absolute beast when it comes to foreign policy and negotiations. And whenever this guy is dealing with world leaders, you can tell that they may not like the guy, but liking him is not what matters. They damn sure respect him. And that is exactly what happened with Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who showed up to Trump Tower to speak with Trump about the war in Ukraine. Okay. And there is a stark difference between how Trump talked about the war versus how Kamala talked about the war, and Zelensky's reaction based off who he was talking to. Because when he was talking to the Democrats, this guy was out here signing bombs, and it seems as if the conversation was mostly about war, right? How do we continue this war and to make sure that we continue to send a welfare check to Ukraine in support of this war against Russia? Take a look.
Well, President Zelensky, it is good to see you again. This is our 7th visit together, and welcome back to Washington, D.C. As I have made clear on our 6 previous meetings and throughout Putin's brutal aggression and war against Ukraine, my support for the people of Ukraine is unwavering. I've been proud to stand with Ukraine. I will continue to stand with Ukraine, and I will work to ensure Ukraine prevails in this war. To be safe, secure, and prosperous, the United States must continue to fulfill our long-standing role of global leadership. We must stand with our allies and our partners. We must defend our democratic values.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
And the American people know well the meaning of freedom, of independence, and the importance of rule of law. These ideals are central to who we are as Americans. And some of the most important moments in our history have come when we stood up to aggressors like Putin, just as we must today.
President Zelenskyy, can you comment on Eric Adams, Vice President? He is saying that.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? I apologize for making you guys stomach about 45 seconds of Kamala Harris, but I wanted you guys to get the gist of what the main theme of the announcement was, right? Because I can't call it a press conference. She didn't take any questions, right? So I'm not entirely sure exactly what it was, okay? But whatever she was doing, whatever she was talking about, the main theme of it was more war, right? They did not talk about, okay, the need to come to a peace agreement, for there to be peace between the two countries. That's not what he talked about. What he talked about was sending more welfare to Ukraine, okay? More equipment to Ukraine, more bombs to Ukraine, more weapons to Ukraine, basically getting the military-industrial complex richer off of the taxpayer dime, okay? That is what they talked about. That is what she discussed. And of course, the politicians get their kickbacks in the form of campaign donations. That's how this works, okay? And Zelensky was just sitting there going along with it because, hey, at the end of the day, that's what this guy wants, right? More money, okay? However, it was a little bit different with Trump, right? As you can see, with Trump and Zelensky, the vibes were different. Notice the stark difference between the theme of what Trump was talking about at the meeting with Zelensky versus what Kamala was talking about at the meeting with Zelensky. Take a look.
Strongest of our soldiers, our people, of course, it will bring us closer to the peace. We need just peace. We need just peace. It's so important to have just peace for the people, especially for the families who lost their children. It's a big tragedy.
President Trump, have you changed your thoughts on how this war should end, what you think should be done, or do you still stand by some of the previous statements?
Well, I learned a lot, but I think I haven't changed from the standpoint that we both want to see this end, and we both want to see a fair deal made, and it's got to be fair, and I think that'll happen at the right time. I think it's going to happen. The president wants it to end, and he wants it to end as quickly as possible. He wants a fair transaction to take place, and I think, right now I'm campaigning, so right now I don't have much to do with it other than we're doing very well in terms of the campaign, and I've been saying that I believe if I win, we're going to have a very fair and I think actually rather rapid deal. It should stop, and the president wants it to stop, and I'm sure President Putin wants it to stop. And that's a good combination. So we want to have a fair deal for everybody.
What do you envision as fair?
Well, it's too early to say that. I mean, I have my own ideas, and I'm sure the president definitely has his own ideas, but it has to be fair.
This war shouldn't be started, and I think that the problem that Putin killed so many people, and of course we need to do everything to pressure him to stop this war, and he's on our territory. That is the most important to understand. He's on our territory, and how to stop the war, to pressure him as we can, we have to do it.
And do you think the U.S. is the best?
The U.S. is the leader. U.S. is the leader of support. U.S. is the leader in the world, and of course we value the support of the United States. We're thankful to the United States, the people of America, and of course we understand that United States can be the leader through any negotiation. You know that we have the peace summit, and we want to organize the second one, and we count on this.
I know you're both in a rush. Last question. Will there be another meeting in the near future between you?
Could very well happen, but I think the president said it the best. This is a war that should have never happened. It should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened. It's a shame, but this is a war that should have never happened, and we'll get it solved. It's a complicated puzzle, very complicated puzzle, but we'll get it solved, and people get on with their lives. Too many people dead. Too many beautiful cities. I've seen those cities. They're so beautiful, and they, I don't know how you can ever rebuild them the way they were. It's not possible.
You have to come, by the way, to see our city.
I will. It's a beautiful country, beautiful weather, beautiful everything. But we have to get this over with. Yeah. But it's a war, and the president agrees. This is a war that should have never happened. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Unlike the Kamala Harris press conference, President Trump and Zelensky took questions. Okay, they took questions from the media. Trump stressed the need for peace. Okay, he says, listen, you got to make a deal. We need peace, right? That is a far cry from what Kamala Harris was talking about, which was, hey, we just got to defeat Putin no matter what. Now, what does that actually look like? She can't tell you that, right? Nobody can really tell you what victory looks like. What does defeating Putin actually really look like? They can't tell you that. But as of right now, the holdup in regards to peace is the fact that, hey, it seems as if Ukraine is probably going to have to give up some of these territories that have basically already been captured by Russia, and also remain neutral when it comes to the prospects of joining NATO. That's basically what's going to have to happen, right? That to me seems to be the most likely path, okay? Neutral Ukraine, and they're going to have to work out some deal when it comes to the current disputed territories. And that's just the reality of the situation. I know they don't want to, okay? But at the end of the day, what is the scenario in which Ukraine actually takes back those territories, right? Or put it this way, that Putin allows Ukraine to take back those territories, because we know that Russia, although in my opinion, I think they're kind of weak, right? To be quite honest with you, considering how this war has been dragged out. And I know some people will say, oh, well, he's doing that on purpose. Okay, it's meant to be a war of attrition. Regardless, okay, I feel like, if Russia was really that strong, they would have already got this job over with. But because it's still going on, at the end of the day, I think that Russia may be forced into a situation where if there's not peace, in order to avoid Putin facing total humiliation on the world stage, they may have to do something that the world does not want to see, right? We don't want to see the nuclear option from Putin, right? I don't want to see that. I don't think anybody wants to see that, which is why I think this current foreign policy of funding this war into perpetuity without actually pressuring Ukraine, Zelensky, and Russia, Vladimir Putin, into the same room for peace is bad foreign policy. It's not good for Ukraine. Okay, and it's something that we have to, at this point, think about what is the long-term best interest of Ukraine and the United States. And right now, the best long-term interest of us and Ukraine is to have this war end ASAP, right? To come to some type of peace agreement now, not later, okay, before it's too late. Because they're never going to pressure Putin to completely withdraw and to humiliate himself by losing to Ukraine. That's never happening, okay? And again, I'm not sure if there's a scenario in which Ukraine can actually keep these territories or take back the territories, regardless of how many trillions of dollars that we send them, because best believe that's what we're in this for. We're in this for trillions. And that's how much the politicians will spend of your taxpayer dime while telling you, oh, no, we just got to keep spending this money, keep sending this money to defeat Putin, right? We're going to defeat Putin. Again, none of them can tell you what defeating Putin looks like in a way that's actually realistic, but this is what they claim, right? They're trying to convince you that, hey, these Ukrainian forces, they're going to take back these territories, including Crimea, which again, hey, it's been 3 or 4 years and, it seems like we're at a stalemate here. So if that's the case, again, at this point, you might want to just cut your losses and say, hey, what can we do as a compromise, okay, to make both parties satisfied, right? Not happy, but satisfied, okay? And I think that Trump is in that type of mindset, right? Where he's like, we have to have peace. The number one thing is peace, okay? And it is refreshing to see a leader of the United States of America leading with peace through strength. And this is something that even RFK praised Trump for, as he came out at one of his rallies and talked about how proud he was of President Trump in the way that he's handling this war in Ukraine and, speaking with Zelensky and trying to come to a peace agreement. Take a look.
And 2 days before the invasion, Kamala Harris went to Germany and said definitively for the first time by any U.S. leader, we are moving NATO into Ukraine. And that is something that we all need to understand, that provocation. And I was so proud of President Trump because everybody says that he alienates people all over the world. He doesn't know how to be a diplomat. But he was the epitome of diplomacy, and I urge you to go look at the YouTube. He was kind and civil to President Zelensky, but he was also firm in his resolve. And he said, I've had a nice meeting, but I have not changed my mind. We need a peace, and we need to do it very quickly. And we need to protect U.S. interests, not an interest of a country in which we have no strategic interest and no treaty. And he was polite, he was kind, but he was firm in protecting our country. And that's what Donald Trump will always do.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. Okay, I got goosebumps listening to RFK talk about how Trump is handling this meeting with Zelensky, right? He's firm. He's letting Zelensky know, listen, we want the best for Ukraine. We think that the best for Ukraine is to come to a peace agreement at this point, right? And that is something that I think the United States of America, we have the power to broker, okay? Some say that there could have been peace a long time ago, maybe a couple years ago, had the United States really wanted it to happen. And I think that is the position that we're in right now. We're in a position where we can make it happen, but we're going to have to stand firm. We have to let, Mr. Zelensky know that, hey, you're not going to be able to get everything you want, right? And we just can't keep funding this into perpetuity. You guys have done an amazing job thus far defending your territory, and we believe in your cause. However, we're funding this. And, ultimately at the end of the day, it is what it is. We can't continue to throw money at something like this, especially considering how the end game is not defined, right? It's very ambiguous in regards to what the actual end game would be. Like, what does a Ukrainian victory look like, right? I don't think that anybody has really realistically defined exactly what that is in realistic terms, okay? In idealistic terms, Russia, they evacuate the territories that they invaded. But even then, you still have complicated issues with how to deal with the separatist groups, right? The ones that are pro-Russia, okay, in those regions. Like, exactly how is that going to work out, right? So again, there's a whole lot of things to work out. But regardless, again, the end goal is ill-defined. Nobody knows what it is. All we're doing is throwing money at it. And again, I understand the Ukrainian cause. I'm sympathetic to it. But at this point, I'm a taxpayer and I don't really want to fund this anymore. I'd rather there be peace, and then we can move on to dealing with other foreign policy issues that are more pressing, in my opinion, right? Like China, okay, and getting independence from China in regards to trade, right? I think that's much more important, okay, from a national security standpoint. That is where we should be focused, okay? But we definitely have to, at some point, resolve this conflict. We have the ability to do so. It's just about the willingness of the politicians, whoever's in charge, the president of the United States, to get it done. Clearly, Biden's not trying to get it done. Kamala was a massive failure in regards to preventing the invasion in the first place, okay, which RFK pointed out. And they're not really talking about peace, right? And again, that's why this election is so important. If you want peace, Trump is the candidate of peace. The candidate of war is Kamala Harris. And I think this situation right here really highlights that. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.